Hi everyone, Gary Coleshill here. Yes, you are in the right place. This is Why LinkedIn Sucks, and this is your 2-minute warning. So if you need to run to the bathroom, grab a cup of coffee, grab yourself a beer, whatever, now's the time to do it. 2 minutes and we'll be getting started. Okay, it's about time. There's still a few more people joining us. So thank you very much for everyone for being here. Looks like we got pretty much a full house. I really appreciate that. And we are going to be talking about why LinkedIn sucks and how we can still make the best of LinkedIn to bring in more business. And firstly, a little bit of housekeeping. Let's just change the slide here. Thank you very much again for all of you for joining us here today. It's not my intention to change or replace anything you're already doing, but hopefully give you more, some extra tools and techniques to help you to succeed. Now, we should be talking for something like 30-40 minutes here on LinkedIn. So if you have any questions, I would ask that you hold them till the end. I'm very easily distracted. If I get distracted, you could be here all night. I'm sure you don't want that. So anyway, let's get started. And if you have any questions, write them down. I'll be happy to try and answer them at the end of this broadcast. So LinkedIn is, as you probably know, the largest professional networking site in the world with over 250 million subscribers, a lot of them, most of them hopefully, in business. So it should really be an awesome tool for getting more business, but it isn't, basically. Why not, and how can you make the most of this tool to bring in more business for yourself? Well, LinkedIn's goal is not to make you rich, obviously, publicly traded company. Their goal is to make LinkedIn rich. So there are thousands probably of petty rules preventing you from doing the business that you could potentially do. In effect, LinkedIn doesn't like you to market beyond a certain level, to promote beyond a certain level, because it interferes, obviously enough, with their revenue. Now, all LinkedIn really wants to do, of course, is to sell you their ads and, of course, get you to sign up for their premium services. So that's the first thing that we have to deal with, basically the bureaucracy of LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn also has absolutely terrible customer service, or rather lack of. And as some of you probably already know, because you've probably already fallen foul of it, they can freeze your account, they can suspend it, delete it without notice for an indefinite period of time, simply because you've broken any one of their thousands of rules that you may not even know about. And customer service, unfortunately, can only be contacted by email, and it can take them several weeks even to get back to you with an automated response, so not good. So something you really don't want to do is fall foul of LinkedIn's customer service, because it's really going to mess up your business plans. Now, there are basically three kinds of people on, actually there's four, there's actually four kinds of people on LinkedIn that can obviously impact your business. Now, to go through them, firstly, there's a lot of fake profiles on LinkedIn. Unfortunately, difficult for LinkedIn to do much about that, but there are a lot of them. I don't know how many, but it's a big chunk of that 250 million. Now, fake profiles are run by people that have no interest whatsoever in doing business with you or I, or networking with us. They really just want to spam you all the time. So you obviously want to take care to make sure that you're not connected or not dealing with people who have fake accounts. And there are several ways you can kind of avoid them by taking a careful look at the account. An obvious one usually is no photograph. Tends to be a little bit of a giveaway. Really, profiles that aren't properly filled out that seem really generic are usually a giveaway as well. And very small, if zero, amount of connections. So avoid people with fake profiles, or avoid fake profiles. Secondly, there's a lot, unfortunately, of self-righteous jerks on LinkedIn. And, of course, there's a lot of competition of competitors who will complain about you every time you try to promote yourself, to try to get the LinkedIn police to suspend your account, just to really take you out of the game. I mean, people who compete with you can get quite nasty, and they know darn well that a few complaints and LinkedIn will suspend your account. So you've got to avoid people like that. There's also quite a few what I like to call one-way networkers on LinkedIn, who want to connect with you solely to have access to your contacts, and they really have no intention of networking with you at all. They just want to send you promotional messages, but if you send them something back, then they're going to shout and scream and complain, if you try and do that. The worst offenders, and this doesn't apply to everybody, so don't be offended if you are in this group, but unfortunately, LinkedIn has a ton of recruiters on there who seem to kind of specialize in that kind of behavior. They're probably the biggest culprits. Not all recruiters, but a lot of them are doing that. And the last group on LinkedIn is the group that we really do want to network and connect with. They're the genuine networkers and business pros, people like you and I. These are the people that you want, basically. They're open to networking. They'll help you grow your businesses if you help them grow theirs, which is fair enough and exactly why most of us are on LinkedIn in the first place. Next, one of the problems with LinkedIn is bad groups. Now, there's obviously a ton of groups out there as well, probably thousands of groups on LinkedIn, some good, some bad. Now, unfortunately, the bad groups are usually run by people who have their own agendas, which don't include helping you grow your own business. So they have the power to moderate the discussions on the group and decide which posts to publish and which not to. And many times, if they think something, again, is in competition with what they're doing, they won't publish it. I mean, many times I've posted what I thought was good information, maybe other people didn't, that was relevant to a group. I try and make it relevant to the group I'm posting on, only to see it never appear at all on the group pages, and I've checked back, and it still doesn't show up. I've even been into the part on the group page where you can check your previous post, and it's just sitting there for weeks and months. Now, this is really for a number of reasons, I figure anyway, either because the moderator sees you as competition to their business, and they block your posts on purpose, or because, unfortunately, a lot of them simply aren't on the ball and they're not doing a very good job of moderating or managing their group, and they hardly ever get around to approving anything. Now, the next problem with LinkedIn, again, as I see it, is their contradictory policies. Now, you can, in theory, contact members, any members of one of your groups that you belong to, if the settings allow. Now, some people can opt out of receiving messages through the group, but most don't. But if 4 or more people complain to LinkedIn, LinkedIn will suspend your account for an indefinite period of time. So that obviously is a bit of a contradiction. You can contact members of the group, but sometimes you can't. Secondly, the other contradiction is that you can directly contact any of your direct connections, which would be up to 50 per day, which sounds great, but it is, again, unless you get 4 people who decide to complain about you for whatever reason, and wham, you're suspended again by the LinkedIn police, and you're in the sin bin again. Now, the third big contradiction is you can't spam on LinkedIn. Well, okay, fair enough, but you can spam if you pay LinkedIn through the through the in-mail strategy, which is kind of bizarre. You pay LinkedIn for in-mails, or you upgrade to one of their premier membership services, and you can spam people through that, obviously in a limited way, but kind of what's up with that? I mean, that's really extremely contradictory. So what is the answer? How do we make good money from LinkedIn and stay mostly out of trouble? That's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. Now, I'd like to know, actually, because there's quite a few of you on here, if you agree with these things, and what particular frustrations you have with LinkedIn. And while you're typing those in, I'll get another sip of my tea to keep my throat going. So type in, if you would, any particular frustrations that you have, and let's see if we can address them. And Karen's posted on here, sorting through contacts. Yeah, that can be a bit of a challenge. Actually, it's more of a challenge now, Karen, than I think it was, because unless I'm missing something, it was much easier to organize your contacts before by, by location, by alphabet, etc. They've changed the format of the address book, which does make it a bit more tricky. So yeah, that's definitely a frustration. I think the easiest answer to that is simply to download all of your contacts, which they still let you do, and into an Excel sheet, CSV file, and maybe put it on your desktop and then import it into your own email system. Basically, that's what I do now, because yeah, I acknowledge that because of that problem. It is difficult to sort through them. And okay, and Bryn says they've uploaded my contact emails without me knowing. Wow, okay. One day I saw my 13-year-old's email address section that I reach out to connect. Yeah, that's kind of bizarre, isn't it? I mean, that's really that really is a bit of an issue, because basically they're grabbing stuff off your computer. I don't know if there's any kind of opt-out on that at all, Bryn, but yeah, that's a little bit disturbing, particularly if they're grabbing your kids' email addresses. David says finding the phone of direct contacts. Yeah, that's probably more so because not everybody posts it, David. I noticed that some do and some don't, so that's probably what it is. But generally what I do is, I know this is pretty obvious, but if I want to find somebody's phone number and it's not on LinkedIn, and I just Google them or look on Facebook. And Karen's made a comment here. The only way to do it now to organize your address book is to compose a message and click on in to get the list alphabetically. Oh, okay. I actually did not realize that's how it worked now, but okay, fair enough. Yeah, I find one of the biggest frustrations personally is they keep changing the rules. You know, there were some perfectly good services on there. I used to very much like the questions that you could post. You could post a question to up to 200 people on LinkedIn and leave it up there for a while and get answers which were not only very useful from a kind of market research or from an information point of view, but you also got to see who was interested in that particular topic in a way that kind of qualified them sometimes for your, for your services. That was disappointing. They took that away. Another thing they seemed to have taken away was the polls. I used to use polls to gauge, again, the same thing, to get information and also to see who was actually interested. And now I think you can only do polls through groups. You can't do it yourself, which is unfortunate. So, yeah, many challenges with LinkedIn. It's getting more complicated all the time, and unfortunately they will keep changing the darn thing, which is what social media sites tend to do. Obviously, since they've gone public as well, they've changed their format quite considerably. I got told off for sending emails out to people in the group, in one of my groups, and when I actually eventually got LinkedIn customer service by email, they told me that I should be buying their advertising, not trying to do that. So their whole focus has shifted, and I think they've found their identity now and realized what they really want. A couple of years ago it was better because they weren't quite sure what they were doing, but now I think they have the, obviously the obvious focus of this is how we're going to make money through advertising and promotion, and this is our direction. But anyway, there are things that still work, for the time being anyway, and work quite well. So I want to talk about them a little bit. Let's just change the screen there. So, what are the answers? Firstly, try to join what I would say are good groups. Now, these are basically, you want to join groups, firstly, that your best prospects will belong to. You don't want to make the mistake of joining the groups that your peers belong to, because, after all, they're your competition. They're far more likely to report you as well. And they almost definitely won't buy from you. So try a few test posts on the discussions page of some of the groups that you belong to, and then check back every couple of days and see if they're showing up. And if they're not showing up, then I would highly advise leaving that group and joining another one. Basically rinse and repeat until you find a good, well-run group that actually posts your discussion and encourages lively, informative discussions on their group page. Unfortunately, there aren't as many as there used to be. The other alternative, of course, is to start your own group and invite your prospects, and you can really post what you like. I've set up a couple of groups on LinkedIn, very easy to do, doesn't cost you anything. You can send out invites to your connections, again up to 50 at a time. I don't think you can get in trouble for that, but again with LinkedIn I'm never quite sure. So you may want to consider setting up your own groups for your prospects and try and attract them to it with posting good advice, good information, and maybe a few freebies as well. The other thing that I would say is a good idea and will keep you out of trouble and get you the right kind of contacts is belong to Lion or Open Networker groups. Now, for those of you that aren't too familiar with Lion stands for LinkedIn Open Networker. And basically, a LinkedIn Open Networker will accept all invitations. They hopefully won't report you for spam or for trying to contact them. The name of the game for them is to build up a big list and network with them. Now, building up a big list, some say it's not a good idea, some say it is. Basically, I figure that even if the list includes people that aren't likely to be your prospect, if you network with them in an intelligent and thoughtful way, don't just blast them all the time, then they may well know someone they can refer you to. So everyone on that list is a potential source of referrals, if nothing else. So bear that in mind. Now, you want to look also for Lion or Open Networking groups, because they usually firstly have a lot of people on them. And you can use their discussions pages to post your willingness to connect and accept all invites. And usually they're a little bit more flexible on allowing posts on the discussions page. Also, another thing I would recommend is, and I know for those of you who've been in my webinars before, I know I've told you this before, so bear with me, but go to opennetworker.com and sign up for a membership with them. I think it's now about $40 a year. But what it does is it will add your name to all of the Lion and Open Networker groups on all of the major social media sites, including LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and various others like Viadeo, Name, Zing, etc. And the list is huge, so you'll get a lot of invites through LinkedIn, hopefully from genuine open networkers and lions. And one of the nice things also is it does also give you access to huge lists, again, of lions and open networkers across all the social media sites that you can directly contact and send invites to. Now, let's talk a little bit about trying to stay out of trouble on LinkedIn as well. As I say, the LinkedIn police are pretty ferocious at times, and you have to always be aware that they can close you down very quickly if you overstep that invisible line in the sand. Let me just grab some more tea for a sec and talk amongst yourselves for a minute, and we'll continue. Now, staying out of trouble. By all means, take advantage of the features on LinkedIn, like contacting group members and your direct connections. But you have to be careful to send them to people that may have a genuine interest. And, you know, where I've kind of got slapped in the past, the LinkedIn slap, is when someone gets a message that doesn't really relate to them. That kind of ticks them off and they lash out. And even if they're a member of your group or they're one of your connections, and they're more likely to report you for spam. So be careful with that. Take a quick look at their profile before you send them a message. Try and include something from their profile that tells them that you've taken the time and the trouble to do a little bit of research and then send them a message. The other thing which I would do, which I mentioned earlier, is download your contacts out of LinkedIn. That way you're not bound by their rules, and import them into something like, you know, MailChimp, Constant Contact, etc., and contact them through there. That tends to work out better because obviously they have less rules than LinkedIn does. Most places have less rules than LinkedIn does. Anyway, are there any other comments on that? Because if not, I want to move on to just briefly talking about how to build your profile on LinkedIn. Now, the profile is much more useful than people think, and a lot of people don't really bother to build the profile up. But realize this, when others search for you on the internet, the likely first thing they'll see is going to be your LinkedIn profile. And this is because LinkedIn has invested very heavily in tags for its site to make it appear very high in internet searches. I mean, do a test. Look up your name on the internet, and you'll probably see your LinkedIn profile right near the top of the page. So use this to your advantage and make sure that your profile is the best advert that it can be for you and your business. Now, the things to do, as I mentioned earlier, are you don't want people to think that it's a fake profile. So, firstly, add a photo. Not always guarantee it's not a fake profile, obviously, but adding a photo helps. Not having a photo can affect people accepting your invites and groups letting you join as well, because they think you're a robot spammer. Add web links as well to your profile so that prospects can find out more about you. And also you can add presentations so that prospects can learn more about your product and service. And also add as many recommendations as possible. I'm talking about the real ones, not those kind of Mickey Mouse ones that you get now where people just check a photo of you and you get like an endorsement. Personally, I don't think they're worth anything. I think a recommendation has to be a real recommendation, a little kind of written out note, or typed out note obviously, that endorses you and says a bit about your product or service. So best way to get proper recommendations, proper testimonials, is write them for your connections, send out a few to your connections and ask them to reciprocate. Now, most people would do that just simply by asking because it's polite. You do it for them, they do it for you. Now, many people also search LinkedIn like it's a giant Rolodex, which it kind of is, by inserting keywords into the people search bar and seeing who comes up. So try it with keywords that you want to be searched for by and see who comes out top of the list. go to their profile and look at it. The keywords will be highlighted and see how many times and where in the profile they use them. And if you want to come out higher in an internal search, you simply have to have more of these keywords than your competitors do. Also, update your profile. Do it every time you log onto LinkedIn, because every time you update something on your profile, your network gets a message via the news stream on your homepage. Use the message box on the stream to keep your connections updated. A message posted there can also be sent to Twitter by checking the Twitter box. Remember, of course, to keep it short and sweet and under 140 characters, or Twitter will cut it short. And don't forget to add a link to the extra add link box. You can then set up Twitter to relay the message to Facebook. So basically, you do a message, it goes out to you have the opportunity to display that message to your connections on LinkedIn, to tweet it out at the same time, and to post it on your Facebook page. So get a lot of bang for your buck there, a lot of coverage for the message. Another thing I would recommend is downloading your profile as a PDF file, and it makes for a great resume or a brochure for you. If anybody ever asks about your product or services, you can just send it via an email. So that's about it on updating your profile. Any other questions there? Nope. Okay. Let's continue. Also, try and develop a marketing campaign. I'm going to give you some kind of tips on how I do this. I mean, feel free to disagree if you don't like the way something is, or if you think that it. If you have any questions at all, anyway. What you do is you make use of your address book, which used to be possible to search by location, industry, and alphabet. I'm not so sure now, but you can send up to 50 messages at once. Again, as we mentioned, you can download your address book to your desktop, and then you can upload it to something like a service like Eventbrite. So then you can send out invites to your events through Eventbrite, and that works very well indeed. People who attend or respond can then put on a priority contact list, which you keep separately. They're your best prospects. So my basic system is, when I promote webinars such as this, is to send out email invites with a registration link to all of my contacts in my address book, 50 at a time, or I do it through an email service. I've actually been using Elastic Email, which is very good, and you can send out literally thousands at a time on that. I don't think there's any limit. Also, I post links to my registration page using the bookmarklet on all of my group pages that I belong to. If you're not familiar with the bookmarklet, it's a LinkedIn tool that you can find by going down to the bottom of the LinkedIn page and clicking on Tools. And what it basically does, it will post any page that you're looking at on the internet to all of the groups that you belong to if you click on the group. So it's a very, very useful way to get some news out, or details of an event out. I also send email invites for registration links to qualified members of select groups. Again, be careful to only send them to people that you think may have an interest. And lastly but not leastly, I send out invites to the event using Eventbrite. Now, when you put a link in an email sent through LinkedIn, it doesn't look like it's going to come out, but it usually should come out properly and be clickable by the receiver. So once residents are on the webinar, then you obviously use the opportunity to sell your product or service, whatever that may be, or make an introduction. And the residents who do attend go onto, again, a special client list. Registrants who register but don't attend go onto a follow-up list and get invited to the next event that we do. And that's about it, really. Hopefully that gives you some idea of the process, but there's no real guarantees here, because any of these services mentioned could change their rules or processes at the drop of a hat, or may take exception to what you're doing, so be aware of that. Also, you may come across a few people who whine or complain about getting a message from you and may even call you names. Luckily, I'm thick-skinned, but by far the best thing you can do is to immediately remove them from your contact list. I mean, who needs them anyway? And don't respond ever to nasty or stupid comments. Whiners and complainers usually have a lot more time on their hands than you do, and they live for an argument, so don't give them the opportunity. Now, moving on, I want to tell you If I can find my right page here. A little bit about a program that I've put together based on my experience on LinkedIn. I've been on LinkedIn for 10 years now, and I've 20,000 connections, and still growing. And I'm ranked. My profile is ranked in the top 1% most viewed on LinkedIn. And I still managed to generate a significant amount of business on the site. I put together a training program where I can share with you all of the stuff that I've learned, mostly through trial and error and getting beaten up and kicked off of LinkedIn, so it's kind of education by fire. But anyway, I'd like to tell you briefly about that, and then I'll take any questions you may have, and we'll get wrapped up. Now, I developed a program which I call LinkedIn Lead Machine. It consists of 3 online videos and 4 PDF transcripts. And basically, it's how to turn LinkedIn into a lead generating machine. It deals with the importance of your profile in detail, how to build your connections list really, really fast, how to join, firstly how to select, then join the right groups, learn how to utilize the groups for lead gathering, how to develop your ideal client profile, how to effectively use the bookmarklet, which is my favorite tool on LinkedIn, tips and ideas on posting, tips and ideas on searching, and how to contact clients for the first time through LinkedIn, and much, much more. And this program is $49.99, not unreasonable, I'm sure you agree. But today, and today only, because we're doing this webinar, I'm going to give you a special $10 instant rebate after payment. So the program will just cost you $39.99, and it does come with my Gary Coleswell special 7-day money-back guarantee. So if for any reason you're not happy with it at all, just shoot me over an email in the first 7 days, and I'll refund your money. No questions asked. That's just for the first 7 days, though. Anyway, if you'd like to get your hands on that, you can go to, the link's a little bit faint, but it's succeedinsales.net/LinkedIn Lead Machine. Again, succeedinsales.net/LinkedIn Lead Machine. And LinkedIn Lead Machine has a capital L on LinkedIn, capital L on lead, and a capital M on machine. Don't know why, it makes it harder. Didn't mean to do that, but anyway, succeedinsales.net/LinkedIn Lead Machine. If you have any problems with that link, or you have any questions, you can always call me on 888-894-2929, and let's see if you have any more questions at all, and maybe anything else you'd like to chat about. So type them into the chat box. No questions at all. Wow, I must have covered everything. I think that's highly unlikely. Somebody must have a question. Anything you'd like to discuss? Any more questions regarding LinkedIn? Just even if it's just a topic for discussion. Any comments, questions, discussions? Oh, okay, Dan. Yeah, Dan's just posted one on there. How often should we publish updates? If you're sending directly to people, I would not contact them any more than once every 3 days. If you're publishing updates, for example, in your stream, I think daily is fine, actually, because you've got to realize that, Dan, obviously, that most people don't see these streams as they go past. It might take two, 3, or even 4 times for you to publish something for someone to actually see it. The kind of stuff whizzes past pretty quick. It's a bit like tweets on Twitter. You know, a lot of them you miss. So, yeah, I think every time you go on there, you should publish an update. Does that answer your question there? Yep. Okay, good. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, and Jenny asked, instead of having a picture, could I put my company logo on the profile? I don't think you can. LinkedIn are really funny. They're funny about everything. But you might want to go. Actually, I would suggest that everybody actually probably goes onto the LinkedIn page and look up all the LinkedIn rules and regulations and try and get a feel for them. I mean, there's a lot of them, but I don't think you can put anything apart from your photo on your profile. Obviously, some people put fake photos and they ignore that, but it's only because LinkedIn haven't seen them yet. I don't think you can put anything actually in your title line apart from your name. And yeah, I think the photo has to be you. I don't think it can be a logo. I think you can set up a company page where you do a logo though, Jenny. But yeah, no, I think not. Anyway, any other questions? And Jerry says, if I get in trouble with the LinkedIn police, how long do I get suspended for? I really don't know. I mean, I tell you, I actually got in trouble. I don't get in trouble very much now because I try and watch it and I'm kind of aware of what got me in trouble in the first place. It was never, you get in trouble for things that you don't even know you're doing. They won't tell you what they are, which makes it kind of difficult. But I got suspended once for a month, which was painful. I mean, they won't tell you. There's no advance warning or anything. You just go to log in one day and you can't get in. You're suspended, and you have to contact customer service by email, and they don't reply. I mean, it's horrible. You really don't want to get suspended. I mean, unfortunately, it's very easy to get suspended, but it's very hard to get back on again. I managed to get back on pretty much every time, but yeah, I wouldn't go there. I'm not sure what their policy is. I mean, initially, I think the first infringement, you can actually get yourself back on again. But after that, I think it's a minimum of 2 weeks. As I say, I was off for 4 or 5 weeks once. It was awful. So you have to watch it. I mean, unfortunately, you can't talk to these people, so you don't really know a lot of the time what you've done. It could be something. I mean, you could send out 10 innocent emails and some, I won't say it, some a-hole reports you for spam, and you just like, you only send out 10 emails or something, and they're all personal ones. So yeah, it's tricky. Yeah, I said, until you beg for mercy reinstatement. Yeah, I've done that too. I've like, please forgive me, I won't do it again. Whatever on earth it was. Please reinstate my account. Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Karen says, lots of people have put their logo instead of a photo. Yeah, I think you can get you kicked off. That's why I wouldn't do it. It's not worth it. I would just go with the photo. When I first started, I used to have a photo of James Bond on there instead of me, which I thought was pretty cool. But one of my colleagues said they'll kick you off for that, and I just took it off. And I had to put my own photo, which is unfortunate for everyone. But yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth getting booted off of. That's where you got to be careful. It's a very fine line. You want to try and do business on LinkedIn, and you've got to be fairly aggressive, or you won't do any. But you don't want to kind of encounter the wrath of the LinkedIn police. They are pretty merciless. So, any other comments before we wrap up? Anybody from LinkedIn works for LinkedIn on it? Might want to comment. Do we have any people from LinkedIn on this call today? I'd be very interested to see what they said. Unfortunately, you can never get a chance to talk to them. Nah, they are on here. They're keeping low profile. Anyway, all right, that's pretty much it. Again, if you want to get that program for the absolute, I think you'd agree, it's absolute bargain price of $39.99. I'll rebate you instantly $10 from the $49.99 when you register. Just go to that link that you can barely see, succeedinsales.net. It came out like that. /LinkedIn lead machine, capital L on LinkedIn, capital L on lead, and capital M on machine. And if you have anything else you want to discuss, feel free to give me a call. You can reach me on 888-894-2929, and yeah, happy prospecting on LinkedIn. By the way, any of you that want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I will never turn down an invitation, and I will never report you for spam or the dreaded IDK, the I don't know, which gets you in trouble too. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, send me an invite. I promise you I'll accept it. And join one of my groups. Join Phone Sales Guru 101, and I'll approve it. I do post tips and ideas on there from time to time about, particularly about phone work, but about sales in general. I've got a couple of people in that group that are really good at posting good stuff as well. I'll let them do it, because even if they're competition, I think it's worthwhile, and they've got good stuff to say. So anyway, that's it for today, I guess. What's the latest number for ID? I don't know, Karen. I'm not even entirely sure what the real number for spam is. People always tell me it's 4. But IDKs, yeah, I've got kicked off for IDKs as well. I've been kicked off for everything, unfortunately. But I'm still here. But yeah, I would say maybe the magic number. It's not very high. It's probably 4 as well. The funniest one I ever had actually was, unfortunately, I had an open networker once who did that to me. Yeah, so I actually sent him, I found out his real email address and sent him a very nasty email. Those guys are not meant to ever report you for IDKs or for, sending them an invite. So, just goes to show you, doesn't it? Anyway, that's about it, I guess, for tonight. So, if you have any questions, let me know, and go to that link and get that wonderful LinkedIn Lead Machine program. You're going to love it, and if you don't love it, you get your money back. Can't say fairer than that. So thank you very much, everyone. And, do we need your email address? Yes, probably do, actually. Gary@phonesalesguru.com. Gary@phonesalesguru.com. And, you may need that to send me an invite, perhaps. Anyway, thanks very much, and bye for now.